Let the space around you fall silent. Take a deep breath and let these words reach the most awakened part of your soul. There is a very specific look people give you when they know they can bend you to their will. It isn't hate, for hate, at the very least, acknowledges you as an equal. That look is one of indifference, cold, sharp, and so ruthless that it makes your self-worth shatter from within. You've been brushed off in conversations. You've seen others take far more from you than they were ever willing to give back. And the most painful part is that you kept smiling, acting as if it were normal. Here's the naked truth. You allowed it to happen. You've mistaken your constant availability for kindness. You've confused your submissive silence with wisdom. But deep down, it's just subservience dressed in the cloak of niceness, a form of self-devaluation given a prettier name just so you can live with it. In a world driven by exchange, the person who always says yes isn't seen as generous. They are seen as convenient. And anything convenient will eventually be used until it's exhausted. Every time you cancel your own plans to meet a random request, you are teaching the world a very clear lesson. Your time is cheap. Your needs come last. Your boundaries can be pushed back with a simple, "Could you help me out?" It is time to stop, not with arguments, not with explanations, but with a shift in your aura. Respect is not earned by begging. It is established through intentional action and impenetrable boundaries. The most precious things in this world have one thing in common. They are not easy to get, and neither are you. Before we dive into the harsh laws of rebuilding your personal boundaries, join the Stoic Journey community right now. Hit subscribe so you never have to be a backup option ever again. Drop a like if you've ever been looked down upon for being too kind. And leave a comment. Starting today, I define my own value. If you know someone being exploited because of their own kindness, share this video as a wake-up call. Your transformation begins when you learn to become more expensive in your own eyes. Starting now, use the power you've ignored for far too long, a power contained in one short word, strong enough to end all exploitation. No. 1. Facing the truth of being disregarded. Look this truth straight in the eye. It may sting, but it is the only antidote for your peace of mind. There is a very specific look people reserve for those they know they can exploit. It isn't hatred. Hatred implies they still see you as an equal, a force to be reckoned with. Instead, it is a cold indifference, a silent but ruthless contempt that treats you like a disposable object, an interchangeable option. Have you ever felt sidelined in a conversation or realized people only reach out when they need a free favor? The naked truth is, you inadvertently allowed it to happen. You mistook your constant availability for kindness and swapped submissive silence for wisdom. In the Stoic spirit, respect is not something you beg for. It is established through intentional action and ironclad boundaries. Imagine a colleague who is always the first to say yes to every overtime shift and every nameless errand. At first, they seem kind, but over time, they fade into the office background, becoming a tool rather than a person of value. When you are always available, you become predictable, and anything predictable is always undervalued. You cannot force others to respect you, but you can absolutely make it impossible for them to disregard you by ceasing to be an obvious choice. Epictetus once reminded us of a chilling principle. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Apply this today. The internal reaction audit. Before rushing to agree to a request that doesn't serve your values, pause and ask, am I doing this out of genuine kindness or out of a fear of being disliked? If the answer is fear, you are living reactively, not masterfully. You are letting the world write your script. Change begins when you realize that protecting your energy and integrity isn't selfish. It is self-respect at its highest level. When you stand firm, the world will recalibrate how it sees you. To do that, you must wield a power most are too afraid to use. A power found in a single, short word, capable of shifting your entire position in any relationship. No. 2. The power of no and setting boundaries. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you said yes while every cell in your body wanted to scream no? We reassure ourselves it's kindness or generosity, but in reality, every reluctant nod is a lesson you teach the world, that your time and energy can be taken without a price. When you are always ready to serve, you inadvertently broadcast a dangerous signal. I have no limits. I have no needs of my own. I will always be here when summoned. Then you wonder why you're disregarded when you were the one who placed yourself in the most usable position. The moment you utter a refusal, a silent shift begins. People no longer view you as a given, but with the realization that you possess an impenetrable boundary. Saying no is not an attack on others. It is a manifesto protecting your integrity and mental health. Think of those who only appear when they're in trouble, need a favor, or a shoulder to cry on, only to vanish when you need them. If you keep saying yes, you aren't helping them. You are feeding their selfishness and draining your own life force. Stoicism is clear. You cannot pour from an empty jar. If you don't protect your energy, you'll have nothing left to give when it truly matters, for your family, your goals, or your future. Here is a brutal but effective method. The no explanation rule. Every time you decline, stop at no. Don't follow it with a lecture. Don't add weak apologies to soothe their feelings. The moment you justify yourself, you hand them a crack in the door to question your choice. And if they can question it, they can bargain. If they can bargain, you will soften, and the cycle repeats. A self-disciplined person knows their word is enough. Their choices require no approval. Boundaries are not walls to lock you in. They are sophisticated filters that strip away what wears you down and keep only what nourishes you. That guilt you feel when saying no is often a good sign. It shows you are breaking the habit of people-pleasing. You will soon see a cold but fair reality. Those who seek to exploit you will leave, while those of value will stay with a deeper respect. Remember, words are only half the power. The other half is quieter, sharper. It lies in your very presence or absence. Much like a diamond maintains its value by never belonging easily to anyone. 3. The art of strategic withdrawal and the value of scarcity. Once you master the refusal, you will encounter a brutal law. Abundance breeds devaluation. A gemstone is not just alluring because it sparkles, but because it is rare enough that one must sacrifice to possess it. Humans are no different. If you appear instantly at every ring of a bell, if you are always the first to arrive at every gathering, ready to cast aside your personal priorities to fix someone else's mess, you are inflating your own supply. Overpresence makes you predictable, and anything predictable is eventually treated like furniture, noticed when there, but never missed when gone. This is where you need the art of strategic withdrawal. It is not about disappearing to punish others or playing childish hide-and-seek. It is about withdrawing access to yourself to reposition your value. Have you ever dared to be silent for a few days? Distancing yourself from meaningless notifications and the noise of the crowd to live truly for your own goals? The moment you proactively exit the cycle of always available, a ripple of curiosity forms in others. They begin to wonder, why is this person no longer accessible? What are they busy with that is so important? That question alone marks a power shift. you are no longer a given. Look at the workplace. The one who is always scurrying to do everyone's favors is often the one given the most work, yet receives the least respect. Conversely, the person who knows when to withdraw from pointless meetings and decline tasks outside their core values is the one whose presence carries weight. They do not show up to fill someone else's void. They show up to provide value. My perspective is clear. Absence is the ultimate stress test for relationships. Those who cherish you will find a way to be worthy of your presence. Those who only seek to exploit you will depart once they realize the free resource has run dry. Training this is not complex, but it demands discipline. Create power voids in your schedule. Do not reply instantly to non-urgent messages. Do not rush to fix problems that aren't yours. Let the world wait a moment, not to manipulate, but to affirm that you have a life worth tending to. The scarcity you create is not an emotional game. It is the ultimate respect for life's most precious resource, time. When you withdraw at the right moment, you don't just recharge. You make every minute of your appearance expensive. And when your presence has a price, you no longer need noise to prove yourself. For true authority begins to be felt through a silence that is cold, sharp, and impossible to disregard. 4. The boundary filter and the power of unwavering silence. As you master the art of absence, a strange phenomenon occurs. The world around you is automatically purified through an invisible filter called personal boundaries. Many spend their lives building bridges, pleasing others, and keeping the peace. But they forget that sometimes what saves the soul isn't an extra bridge, but the construction of a filter. A boundary is not a stone wall to imprison you. It is a sophisticated membrane that strips away those who only come to drain your energy. When you set clear standards, the chronic manipulators will be the first to be offended. They will complain, play the guilt card, and try to drag you back to your old position, the position of the usable one. This is exactly the sign that the filter is working. A cold truth. The person who cannot stand your boundaries is usually the one who benefited most from your lack of them. Their anger is not your fault. It is an indictment of their selfishness. Accompanying this filter is a silent but heavy-hitting weapon, the mastery of the pause. We often reflexively fill silence for fear of awkwardness or being judged as having nothing to say. In reality, the one who talks the most is often the one with the least power in the room. Imagine a familiar scene. In a meeting or a debate, someone rudely interrupts or drops a provocative comment to undermine you. Instinct tells you to talk faster, explain more, or justify harder, but the master chooses the opposite. Stop. Let the silence stretch for a few seconds. Look them straight in the eye with a calmness that borders on cold. In that moment, silence is not empty. It is a manifesto. It forces the other person to face their own rudeness and compels the entire room to pivot toward you. The method you must forge is verbal gravity. Speak only when your words hold more value than silence. Never over-explain your personal decisions or your no. When you offer a long list of reasons, you inadvertently hand others the right to judge and bargain with your life. Stoicism reminds us that words are assets, not free promotional handouts. Unwavering silence in the face of external pressure is how you affirm you are the master of this space, this time, and your own human value. And when you have filtered out toxic relationships while mastering the power of the pause, you will stand at a new threshold. Respect begins to flow toward you naturally, not because you demanded it, but because you have become an immovable entity. But for this autonomy to be truly eternal, you must face the final challenge, the primal fear that has silently bound you, the fear of standing alone in the world. 5. Standing firm alone, freedom from the fear of abandonment. When the noise of excuses fades and silence begins to exert its power, you will come face to face with an entity you have long avoided: yourself. The naked truth is, you didn't rush to please others because you were too kind, but because you were terrified of being left in the shadows of solitude. Many cling to hollow relationships like a drowning person simply because they never learned to stand on their own 2 feet. Look around. How many people endure contempt in toxic social circles or tolerate a soul-crushing job just because they fear an empty dinner table or a silent phone at night? They trade their self-worth for a fake sense of belonging, a cheap comfort that comes with an extortionate price tag. Stoicism views solitude differently. It is not a sentence, but a fortress. When you are alone, there is nowhere to hide, and no one left to blame. You are forced to meet yourself, hear yourself, and take full responsibility for your life. Carl Jung once reminded us that loneliness does not come from having no people around, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself. In other words, what makes you fear being alone is not the absence of others, but the lack of connection with your own inner core. When you cannot stand your own presence, you will seek any means to fill the void with others, even at the cost of your self-respect. My perspective is clear. The ability to stand alone is the ultimate test of self-respect. If you are not okay being by yourself, then every boundary you set is merely a weak bargain, hoping others won't leave. But when you liberate yourself from the fear of abandonment, an unshakable power emerges. You transform every relationship from a survival necessity into a deliberate choice. You stay because you want to, not because you're afraid. You leave because you know you deserve better, not out of impulse. You no longer need the world's validation to feel that you exist. The practice for today is disciplined solitude. Proactively carve out periods of total disconnection. No social media, no devices, no noise. Simply to dialogue with yourself and accept who you truly are. It will feel uncomfortable at first, like withdrawing from an addiction. But eventually you will realize, peace doesn't come when someone is beside you. It comes when you stop running from yourself. When you find stillness in your own presence, the world will sense a different frequency. The autonomy of a person who can no longer be manipulated by the fear of loss. Real respect begins when others understand you are with them because you choose to be, not because you need to be. 6. Conclusion. Building a life worth defending. Once you have learned to stand firm in your own silence, you will touch a supreme truth. Respect is not a destination to be chased, but a natural byproduct of a life built with discipline. And make no mistake, setting boundaries is not about turning your life into a lonely prison. A life worth defending is not a closed fortress, but a vibrant entity where every habit, every choice, and every yes or no is filtered through the lens of your core values. Imagine a master carpenter in a small town. He doesn't need to shout or advertise to be recognized. His prestige lies in every meticulously crafted wood grain, in his flat refusal of cheap materials, and in his steadfast commitment to high standards even when no one is watching. You are the same. When you set a gold standard for your time and energy, the world will recalibrate its rhythm to meet you. We have wasted too many years trying to please people who don't even respect themselves, only to realize one day that we traded a lifetime protecting a hollow shell, all for the sake of shallow applause from the crowd. Therefore, here is the practical method to start today. The value priority ritual. Each morning, before the world can rush in to tear at your attention, choose one single thing you will do to protect your integrity. It could be declining a pointless meeting. It could be putting your phone down to spend an hour on the goal you've delayed for too long. It could be finishing an important task before you rescue anyone else. When you start showing up for yourself with absolute consistency, you send a steel-clad message. You are no longer a supporting character in someone else's play. You are the director. You are the one at the helm of your own story. Building a life worth defending will always involve discomfort and resistance. There will be times you feel out of place for not following the beaten path of the crowd. But it is within that out-of-place feeling that true resilience is forged. Jung said the greatest privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Once you have internal validation, you will no longer crave external praise. You stand tall, without apologizing for your brilliance in the middle of the dark. But the journey doesn't end here. Now that you have become an entity of weight, with every footstep bearing the mark of autonomy, a new question arises, deeper and more provocative. What will you do with the power you have reclaimed? Will you use it to create a lasting legacy, or let it sleep within the safety of your new boundaries? Let these words sink in. And when you look in the mirror, make sure the person looking back at you is someone that even you must respect. Your journey, truly, has only just begun. Once you have learned to stand firm in your own stillness, you will touch a supreme truth. Respect is not something to be chased. It is the natural byproduct of a disciplined life. And make no mistake, setting boundaries does not make you a loner. It makes you a person with standards. A life worth defending is not a closed fortress, but a filtered existence, where every habit, every choice, and every yes or no passes through the lens of your core values. A master carpenter does not need to shout for recognition. His prestige is etched into every polished wood grain, in his refusal of cheap materials, and in his rigorous standards even when no one is watching. You are the same. When you set a gold standard for your time and energy, the world will recalibrate to meet you. We have wasted too many years pleasing people who don't even respect themselves, only to realize we've been defending a hollow shell, all for a few rounds of shallow applause. Therefore, start immediately with the value priority ritual. Each morning, before the world begins to tear at your attention, choose one single act to protect your integrity. Decline a pointless meeting. Put your phone down for an hour, or finish what matters to you before rescuing anyone else. When you show up for yourself with unwavering consistency, you send a definitive message. You are no longer a supporting character. You are the one at the helm. If you wish to continue this path with Stoic Journey, hit subscribe right now. Drop a like if you're ready to stop living just to be accepted. Leave a comment below. I choose a life worth defending. If you know someone trading their self-worth for a fake sense of belonging, share this video as their wake-up call.